deep breath. Being grateful for the clean air that we have to breathe. Being grateful for the food we get to eat. Being grateful for the friendships we have here at the fellowship. Take a moment to really be present in the now. And say thank you. Thank you to God. Thank you to the universe. Thank you to the great mystery of life. Thank you. Blessed be and amen. All right. I want to talk to you today about the power of choice. It's so important that it actually runs your life, whether you're aware of it or not. You can never be greater than how you choose to see yourself. Likewise, your partner can never be greater than how you choose to see him or her. I want to start today's sermon with a quote by Gina Vincent. Gina Vincent is the owner of Exquisitely Aligned and says, "Embrace the life you're meant to live. The life you haven't lived yet is an amazing one. This is the one that has been calling you your entire life, ever since you were a child. It's the one that sneaks into your dreams and demands your attention when you're least expecting it. The call is loud and clear. However, if you want to live this amazing, unlived life that's calling you, you must know that it won't simply happen. It doesn't simply happen, or it would have already happened. You must choose it." I'm a voracious reader, and every once in a while I read something that jolts me, wakes me up just a little bit more. It's usually something simple yet profound, and that happened to me this week. I read, "Remember, your life belongs to you." Now, I've heard that before, as you probably have too. I try to get all my clients to realize this. I'm a psychotherapist in private practice for those who don't know me. But I try to get my clients to understand that this is your life. This is it right now. And so be careful how you live it. The good and the bad. Own it all. The things that go better than planned and the things that truly just wow. And as stated, you can never be greater than how you choose to see yourself. That's an incredible statement. How you choose to see yourself. Are you smart? Are you quiet? Are you happy? Are you depressed? Are you creative? Are you pretty or handsome, or do you not like the way you look? Are you talented? In what way? You have choice over all of this, which is amazing. No one else does. You do, because it's your life. Here's an example. I received a phone call from someone who read my book, The Emotionally Unavailable Man. She wanted me to tell her how to fix her fiancé. That was a little red flag for me, because nobody can fix anybody but themselves, because that's how it works. Only you can make things better in your life by making different choices. However, she insisted she wanted to try it another way, to fix him. She then described her 62-year-old fiancé, who she had been dating for 4 years. He's like a child, someone who never grew up, someone who doesn't take responsibility, someone you have to tell what to do and what to say, someone who says very hurtful things and doesn't even realize it, someone who doesn't ever take initiative is not dependable, isn't working in a steady job, and can't even pay his bills, I have to pay them for him. He didn't even get me a present for Christmas. I'm thinking to myself, clearly this person doesn't need to fix him. She needs to fix herself by taking the responsibility to get out of such an unfulfilling relationship that she's allowed herself to slog along in for 4 years. 4 years of her precious life. She then asked me if she should marry him. Now, I thought to myself, really, is this a true story? I never have met this woman. I never even talked to her before this phone call. And she wanted me to tell her whether or not to marry a man whom she had nothing positive to say. I told this woman to write down everything she had said to me and to have her best friend read it back to her as if it were her problem. After that, I told her to ask herself, what would I tell my friend to do? Immediately, she responded, I would tell her to get out. I would tell her she deserves more. I would tell her that she would be wasting her life, spending way too much time trying to get her 62-year-old partner to grow up, when really she needed to grow up. I would tell her, do not marry this man. Get on with your life. Become a contributing member of society. Stop wasting your time and move on. I said to her, wow, you could be a therapist. You got it all figured out. You see, we know the answers. It's just a matter of listening and trusting our inner voice and being brave enough to move in the direction we want to go. Lao Tzu, the founder of Taoism, said, at the center of your being, you have the answer. You know who you are, and you know what you want. Another client of mine told me he wanted to be married to someone sober. The problem was, he had been saying that to himself for 23 years. His wife was not interested in getting sober, clearly. He had raised their 2 precious children in an alcoholic, crazy system, all the while saying he wanted to be married to someone sober. Well, I hated to state the obvious, but I told him, if you want to be married to someone sober, you have to get unmarried from someone who isn't. That is, you have to be brave enough to go in the direction you want to go. There's no substitute for action. Even a little action counts. We just have to move in the direction we want to go, in the direction we want our life to be. Your life belongs to you, not to your spouse, not to your parents, not to your children, not to your friends or your boss or your co-workers. No, you are in charge of your life. You are the only one who has the power to redirect your path, to change the limiting messages you tell yourself. It's an illusion if you think somebody else has that power. You can be broader in your thinking about who you are and then choose to step into that. So today, I want you to think about your life belongs to you. Here are some truths that I believe. Most likely, you are the only person that is with you 24/7. Also, I believe you are on this planet on purpose. Further, you are only here for a short period of time, so claim the little bit of space that is yours and get on with living and creating the life you want to live. I think of this planet having 2 lifetimes. I wrote a book about it. I guess I left it in the car. 2 lifetimes, moving from fear to love. The first lifetime is where we think other people are in charge of things in our life. The But that isn't true. They are only in charge as long as we give them our power. You can take control of the reins of your life at any moment you choose. That's how powerful you are. May that moment be now. Then once you claim yourself and your life, and remember your life belongs to you, you have to make some key decisions about how you want to live your life and what you stand for. Not living the decisions someone else told you to live by, but making the decisions yourself. This is why I love Unitarian Universalism. We support each one of us in thinking on your own and finding your own truth. The reality is people only make a few decisions that they live by. We only need to make a few. I'm here to ask you to think about two of them. First decision is, are you going to live your life by fear or love? And the second decision is, are you going to use the golden rule to rule your life? I think these two decisions are intimately intertwined. And the second one, deciding to live by the golden rule, is another way of saying, I will not be ruled by fear. So maybe there's only one key decision that we all have to make. Are you going to use the golden rule to rule your life? If so, then you will also be deciding not to be ruled by fear. Let's talk about the golden rule for a moment. Most of us, if not all of us, were taught it this way. Say it with me. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But according to Fred Smith, a leadership coach, a version of the golden rule exists in just about every culture around the world. In Christianity, Matthew 7:12, whatever you want men to do to you, do so to them. In Islam, the Quran, no one of you is a believer until he loves for his neighbor what he loves for himself. Buddhism, hurt not others with that which pains yourself. Hinduism, this is the sum of duty. Do not unto others what you would not have them do unto you. Confucianism, what you do not want done to yourself, do not do it to others. And finally, Baha'i, which is the major faith in Iran. Baha'i says, and if thine eyes be turned toward justice, choose for thy neighbor that which you choose for yourself. And the last two are my favorites. One is from Nigeria. One going to take a pointed stick to pinch a baby bird should turn the stick on themselves first to see how much it hurts. In Judaism, what is hateful to you, do not do to your fellow man. This is the entire law. All the rest is commentary. Think about that. This is the entire law. What is hateful to you, do not do to another person. That means the golden rule is very important. So what does it look like? When the golden rule is ruling your life, at every juncture the question becomes, how would I like to be treated? I have to check in with myself over and over again. How would I like to be treated in this situation? Here's the story of Kevin Rollins, the president of Dell Computer, when he was asked the role of ethics in business. Rollins quoted Russian dissident Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Solzhenitsyn said that if the United States only aspires to a legal standard of moral excellence, we will have missed the point. Man can do better than that. I thought that was a nice comment on the ethics of companies that say, well, legally it was fine. We believe here at Dell, you have to aspire to something higher than legal. The question here is what you're doing right? Martin Luther King Jr., who would have been 94 in January this year, concurred. We must never forget that everything that Hitler did in Germany was legal. John Maxwell, the author of the book Ethics 101, talks of ethics and integrity this way. Ethics and integrity is never a business issue, or a social issue, or a political or a legal issue. It is always a personal issue, a personal choice. So remember, your life belongs to you. You get to decide how you're going to be in this world. Are you going to ask yourself at every crossroads, how would I like to be treated, and act accordingly? Or are you going to be a person who talks the talk but doesn't walk the walk? Your life belongs to you, and you get to decide. It's a lot of responsibility taking over your life, but it's also a lot of freedom. Moving out of the victim way of thinking, there's nothing I can do, into the more empowered way of thinking. I can figure this out. I'm smart. I can make it happen. Many people will claim personal integrity and be outraged when they don't receive it from others, but will keep the extra $5 handed to them by mistake. I had a client one time, I don't know if I've told you this story before, but it's true and it fits in right now, so I'm going to say it again. My client received an income tax return of $1 million when he was expecting a couple of hundred. Clearly, there was a mistake. He knew it. He knew the money wasn't his, but he put it into his bank account nonetheless. He kept it. Eventually, the IRS caught up with the mistake and wanted the money and the interest back. He was outraged. He felt like he had been wronged. Really, I said? I asked him to reverse the situation, that the government took $1 million out of his investment account. How would he want to be treated? Would he want them to hold on to it for a year and keep all the interest? Probably not. So there are really two parts of incorporating the golden rule into your life. Absorbing it under your skin. The first is to be able to discern right from wrong. We do this by asking ourselves, how would I like to be treated in this situation? We do this by taking the long pointed stick and trying it on ourselves first to see how it hurts. The second thing we need to do is the commitment to actually do what is right. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in moments of challenge and controversy." In other words, it's easy to love people who are nice and lovable. The test is being able to love people who are not nice, who are porcupines. That's the same with ethics and our moral compass. We must be willing to stand by what is right, even when it is not popular, even when it means losing our job, even when it means people being upset with you and ostracizing you for rocking the boat. It means standing up and doing the right thing when it's hard. Which brings me to my I don't care story. When my son Scott was a freshman in college, he gathered a group of Terry scholars together. He was a Terry scholar. He gathered this group together to go to the Astros game, $10 per ticket. Well, he got about 20 of them to sign up and give him $10, which meant they got a discounted price of $8 a ticket. So when one of the guys saw the ticket was $8 and he had paid Scott $10, he asked for his $2 back. My husband said something loving like, "Oh, that's ridiculous. What a jerk." And my son agreed with him. And so that left me to step into the muck. I stood up for the boy who wanted his $2 back. And I said, in fact, you need to give everybody their $2 back. He said he had already donated the money to the Terry Foundation. He told that to the first boy, who was quite upset that Scott decided what to do with his change without asking him. I agreed that was wrong. Whoa, Scott got mad. Jeff said, Patty, it's only $2. And I said, I don't care. It wasn't Scott's $2. My son was hurt that I wouldn't take his side. He was mad at me and thought that I was being ridiculous. I didn't care. Right is right and wrong is wrong. I told Scott if he had asked each person if they were all right if he donated the $2 extra on each ticket to the Terry Foundation, and they said, yes, that was fine, okay then. But otherwise, it was not his $2 to decide what to do with it. He needed to return it to each student, which begrudgingly he did. One of the students thanked him and told him he moved up the notch in his eyes because he did the right thing by returning the money. So let's talk about slogging for a moment. The problem I have, and maybe you do too, is I tend to put up with situations that are not what I want in my life. I slog along with whatever it is, grumbling quietly, but not doing anything about it. For example, I have 2 tenants that rent in my office. One is very pleasant, always willing to help around the house, works in the yard, pays his rent on time, and is so pleasant to be around. Now the other tenant, not so much. He's always complaining. He won't share his pots and pans. One of the nice tenant has tattoos, and the second tenant said, "Can you talk to him like a mother and tell him to have those removed?" I don't think so. And he said, "Why does he work with, tattoos all over him?" I said, "I don't know." That guy still hasn't paid his rent as of March 19th. So one day he asked me a couple of weeks ago, "Are you going to renew my lease? It's up April 1st. I told him I would think about it and I would talk to my husband about it. I asked Jeff and he said, "Are you kidding me? If you have a chance to cut this guy loose, cut him loose. He's done nothing but a pain." I had to agree. So I put on my big girl pants and I wrote him a loving letter saying we were not going to renew. I gave it to him and I felt real bad. Fortunately, I did not retract my position, but I do feel sorry for him. If it wasn't for my husband's clarity, I would still be slogging along with him, so grumbling the whole way. I'm here to tell you, you're allowed to stop slogging. In fact, you'll be happier if you do. And if you add the golden rule as a way of life, it's even better. Martin Luther King so famously said, "The time is always right to do right." I personally feel a sense of urgency, an urgency to write about it, talk about it, shout it from the mountaintop. As Martin Luther King so profoundly stated, we may have come on different ships, but we're all in the same boat now. History will have to record that the greatest tragedy of this social transition time was not the strident clamor of the bad people, but the appalling silence of the good people. You are the good people. We have to stand for what is right. I support you in not slogging along in 2023 in situations that keep you from being your highest self. I support you. I encourage you in taking claim of your life and all of your decisions as your life, and lead that life by the golden rule. If you have investments, give them congruent with how you would like to be treated. Again, in Maxwell's book, Ethics 101, He states, according to the Ethics Resource Center in Washington, D.C., companies that are dedicated to doing the right thing have a written commitment to social responsibility and act on it consistently are more profitable than those who don't. James Burke, the chairman of Johnson & Johnson, says, if you had invested $30,000 in a composite of the Dow Jones 30 years ago, it would be worth $134,000 today. However, if you have put your $30,000 into 15 socially and ethically responsible firms, 2,000 into each one, it would now be worth well over $1 million. It matters. If you're working for a company that is dishonest, rethink your position there. Work to change things or look for a better place for yourself. If you are unkind in your relationships, if you are dishonest, if you treat your partner less than you want to be treated, it's time to claim your life as your own and to decide for yourself how you want to live. I want to close with some more words from Martin Luther King, remembering and honoring him for embodying the Golden Rule. Not only did he say, I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they are not judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. But also, I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word in reality. This is why right, temporarily defeated, is still stronger than evil and will ultimately be triumphant. The time is always right to do the right thing. Choose that. Blessed be and amen.